Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Work at Home Rockstar podcast. I'm excited for today's guest. He is the owner of SEO Optimizers. And what he does is he helps people to get more traffic, get more leads to their business, SEO, all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited today to be rocking out today with Brandon Leibowitz. Hey, Brandon, you ready to rock?
Oh yeah, thanks for having me on today.
Awesome, cool. So we always start off here in a good note. So tell me a story of success in your business that we can be inspired by.
Probably success was helping. Well, the biggest one was probably being able to quit my job. So working full time, helping other or at advertising agencies, doing SEO before work, after work, on my lunch breaks. I'd work on my own company, trying to get new clients and building it up and building it up. And over the years, took some time, but built it up to where I was comfortable and making the same amount that I was making at these advertising agencies as the director of SEO, and was able to quit my job and work from home and been able to be kind of like a digital nomad and be able to pick up and travel as long as I have my laptop and the internet connection. I could do my work, which makes it pretty nice. And that was probably the biggest success, was just letting go of that 9 to 5 and being able to follow my passion.
That's awesome. And it's a really smart way to do it too. Like you've got that kind of paycheck coming in, so you're not desperate about anything. You can just build it on the side. How was that experience? Like you probably a lot of late nights and early mornings, right? Or
Yep, still a lot of late nights and early mornings, but at least now I can pick and choose my hours and gets a little bit more flexible. But yeah, it was definitely a little tricky waking up before work, working on my own stuff, and then going to work, and then working at my normal 9 to 5, helping them out. But luckily, I was doing SEO at both, or at that 9 to 5, and then I freelance was 9 SEO, so it all ties together and helps out. Where I'm constantly just learning about SEO, digital marketing strategies at work, and then could help out my clients and could also help out my advertising agency clients. So that made it a little bit easier, where I wasn't doing two separate things that were completely different, but it definitely was a little stressful and tough at times, but worth it in the long run.
yeah. Well, why did you decide you wanted to start your own thing when you already had a business, a job doing that?
Then I think after I got always had the entrepreneurial spirit. And after I got my first job doing SEO, I realized I could work full time at this company, helping them out, but I also could go down to like a lawyer or a dentist or a restaurant and see if they needed help with their marketing, and picked up a few freelance clients here or there and made a little side income, and realized that I should probably just go all in with this because people seem to want it and it was new, and it's still kind of is new to this day, but
Mm.
people are just kind of interested in it as a way to just get a new traffic source to the website, and was able to just jump in early and build it up as much as I could, but always just knew I wanted to do something on my own and didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but just knew I wanted to have my own business eventually.
Right on. Okay, so you kind of had that idea of being a business owner right from the start. Like you sort of chose the path on purpose, right?
Yeah, I knew that back in high school or probably earlier that I wanted to have my own company one day. Just didn't know exactly what it would be. And it all kind of just fell into place after I graduated from college and got my degree in business marketing. And that first job was doing SEO back in 2007.
Wow, that's awesome. So, okay, so now along with the good notes, sometimes things don't go as planned, right? And there's some mistakes that you make along the way. Can you share something like something that just didn't go as planned that we can learn from and maybe we can avoid it?
I mean, initially, I didn't really know too much about website design and building websites, and had my website just a little too complicated, where SEO is very technical. And I just made it way too complicated, way too technical, the website. And with mentors over the years, they're like, cut down by like 80% of your website and just make it easier to understand. Less is better sometimes, where you're not overcomplicating things. And that was really tough for me to do because I thought the more information I give out, the better. But cutting it down and stripping it down to really what business owners care about, instead of getting super technical with all the little fine nuances and details, which they don't really care about, but just focusing on value, benefits, and what I have to offer. That really changed my business around and got me to really pick up and get some exponential growth. Before that, it's kind of here or there, would be growing, a lot of referrals, a lot of word of mouth, but not many people would convert off my website. But once I made all those changes and really optimized the website for conversions for people, not just for Google, because I was really focused on Google by just adding a bunch of text
Mm-hmm.
and doing all the SEO things that Google wants to see, but not realizing I have to have that balance for people and for Google. And that really helped out a lot.
Yeah, that's a really relatable thing. I mean, I know it happened to me too that, because I'm an IT guy as well. And, you put all this technical stuff on it's like your resume, right? I mean, you're like, oh, look at all this cool stuff that I know how to do.
Mm-hmm.
But to the end user that needs your services, I mean, I think what I realized is that the only people that really understood my website were my competition, really. And they're not going to hire me. Why? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's really good advice to just kind of like tone that back and really just keep it towards, what the customer is looking for, right?
Yep. Yep. No, I agree. Yeah. I was pretty much writing a website for my or for my competitors to read,
Yeah.
see my strategies, see what I'm doing. But the end user that really wants my services was not interested in all that fine nuances and all that really technical coding changes and things like that I was be doing.
Yeah. Yeah. They're more interested in like the problems that you solve rather
Yep.
than how you solve them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. They want to know what's in it for me. What are you going to do for me? You're going to get me more traffic? Okay, great. You don't have to get into all these fine details. Just let me know kind of like a higher level strategy, like what you're going to do. Keyword research. All right, you're going to put these keywords on your website or in my website, but you don't have to tell me you're going to do a title tag or a meta description or header tags or schema tags or site maps and all these technical things. Just let me know. You're going to find the high search volume keywords, incorporate them to my website. That way Google knows what my website is about, but not get into all those really technical details.
Hmm. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about getting fans. So getting people, some eyeballs onto your work. And so actually, I do have a question for you. Like, what's better for a small business? Is it better for them to go and try to get traffic from like social media, or would they go straight to search engines? Like, what do you think?
It just depends on their audience and who are they targeting, because really you don't need to be everywhere. I mean, it's good to have a presence everywhere, but really to be active, you got to figure out who is my audience and where are they. Like for myself, I do SEO, or like a dentist. They're not going to get much traffic from Instagram or TikTok or Facebook. I mean, you'll get some people off of it, but most people are probably going to go to Google or Yelp for a service-based business. If you're selling, or if you're doing like comedy or news or sports or entertainment, that's perfect for social media. But it's all about just understanding who your audience is and how they engage. Or even like for music, people are going to be searching on Google for new music. They're probably going to be on Spotify or something like that, SoundCloud, trying to just browse around. So it's all about just really understanding who your audience is, trying to take a step back and thinking, if they were looking for your product, or if you were looking for your product or service, where would you go? And that kind of helps you along that way. And also looking at your competitors, seeing where they're active. Are they active on Instagram? Are they posting 5 times a day on Instagram, but nobody's commenting, nobody's liking it? Maybe Instagram isn't the best place, or maybe they're just doing it wrong. But more than likely, it's probably not where your audience is at. So that gives you a little bit of insight to kind of look at what your competition is doing and get ideas based off them.
Nice. I like that strategy. Yeah. If you go to your competitors, social media pages, you can see, what's going on. You can see how people are reacting to them, right? That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's just say that they've figured out, what the best channel is. What's the next step? What do they do next?
And that would just depend on that channel that they're on. So if it's for SEO, that means doing all the right things to make Google happy, which keyword research, find out what keywords people actually search for. Well, same with social media. Well, usually in general, with any marketing, you want to figure out what keywords are people searching for. There's tools, free tools and paid tools. There's a free tool from the Google. It's called the Google Keyword Planner. And that will let you see how many people actually search for your keyword every single month. So instead of just guessing and saying, all right, I think this is a good keyword, there's tools that will show you exactly how many people search that keyword versus a synonym or a plural version or another variation of it. So you can figure out, is this the best version? Or maybe I should go with a different keyword. Like for the dentist example, if they might offer teeth cleaning, but the dentist might say it's called dental cleaning. And we could check to see how many people search for dental cleaning, and might see that 1,000 people search for dental cleaning a month, but 2,000 people search for teeth cleaning. So then I'd go back to that dentist and be like, dental cleaning is good, but we should probably go for teeth cleaning because it gets double the amount of searches, same intent behind that search. So just figuring out those keywords, and then I figure out how to incorporate them. If you're doing social media, into your social media posts with hashtags, or just putting it in the actual description. With SEO, you got to go into the coding and make a lot of kind of technical changes. But one easy thing for SEO is just add more text to your website. So adding more text doesn't require any coding. And every single page on your website needs to have text. Google feeds off text. The more text you have on your website, the easier it is for them to read, understand, and really know what that page is about.
Yeah. And then there's of course like you said earlier, there's a bit of a balance, right? Between, you know, the text for the search engine plus versus the text that makes it easier to flow on the website, right?
Yeah.
Like
So having the
for the
top of your
physical information.
website kind of, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. So having the top of your website kind of clean and easy to read with like bullet points or not just big blocks of text. At the very bottom of your page, that's where you can have all this text. But at the top, it's called above the fold. That's whatever you see on the screen is above the fold. Once you start scrolling, that's below the fold. And most people do not scroll down on the website. So having it really nice and clean at the top with like images or a video, bullet points, a value proposition, like what's in it for me. And then lower down on the page, that's where you could have all that SEO stuff for Google, where you're just putting a bunch of text there to make Google happy. But you got to get that balance. If you just put a bunch of text at the top, probably going to deter a lot of people because they don't want to read that, especially on mobile. They don't want to read a lot.
No. Yeah. Wow. Okay, cool. That's awesome. So then, we're going to talk about instruments and, tools that you can use to become successful. Now, you've already mentioned a couple. There's like the keyword search tool that you just mentioned earlier. Are there any other tools that you use, regularly to get success in your business with your clients?
Yeah, for SEO, there are a lot of tools. Well, some are free, some are paid, but one or a couple important ones, just not even for SEO, just in general for marketing, like Google Analytics, tracking where is my traffic coming from? What pages are they visiting? How long are they staying on my website? That one's another free tool. For SEO, there's another one called Google Search Console, which is similar to Google Analytics, but this one is all geared towards SEO. So you can see your SEO performance, what keywords you rank for, how, if there's any errors on your website, if your website loads slowly, it'll give you all those errors. And paid tools, well, a big part of SEO is looking at backlinks. So finding other websites that talk about you. The more websites that talk about you, the more popular Google sees you as, and the higher they rank you. So you want to get other websites to talk about you, which is essentially called building backlinks. And there's tools that'll show me your website's backlinks or any website's backlinks. So if you're my competitor, I could throw you into these tools and one by one look at all the websites that link out to you and start reaching out to them to see if they would potentially link out to me. Because if they are linking out to you and you're my competitor, they might link out to me. I just got to get creative and figure out, what did you do? Did you write an article? Did you do an interview? Did you do a blog post? Did you maybe do a podcast interview or whatever it may be? Reverse engineer that entire strategy. These tools are a little expensive, but the more popular ones would be like Ahrefs or Moz or SEMrush. Those, you don't have to buy all of them. You just pick one and use that tool. But those tools are invaluable and help save a lot of time. So those would be like the main ones. There's a lot of other tools that you can get out there, but those are the kind of ones I use on a pretty consistent basis.
So, okay, so for all these tools and all this SEO stuff, like how would you rank it in terms of like, let's just say that somebody is fairly technical, right? But not necessarily, a guru or anything like that. Would this all be stuff that, a fairly technical person could figure out how to do and how to use themselves? Or would this be something that you'd really want to start to hire out somebody else?
It's a little bit of a learning curve. Some of them, I'm not sure if you got into Google Analytics, but a lot of my clients go into Google Analytics. It's like, I don't even know where to go from here. And
It's huge. Yep.
it can be a little overwhelming at times. So, but once you know where to go, then it's a little bit easier. So I give them like bookmark or create shortcuts and reports saying, all right, here's the section that you need to go to. It's good to look at everything, but it gets a little overwhelming and it gets a lot of people just get overwhelmed and close it. But I'm like, here's the places that you should go. And then they can see, all right, these are my top traffic sources. This is where I'm getting all my traffic. I can see Google's bringing in this amount of traffic. Bing is bringing them out this amount. And this much from Facebook, this much from email, this much from people just typing my website in. So you can see that, or showing them which pages get the most traffic, especially for e-commerce. Then you can say, okay, this product is getting the most traffic, but 90% of the people that come to this product page, they leave immediately. What's wrong with this page? Why is everyone leaving? Is the price too high, or does it load slowly, or are the images bad? So that gives you more insight versus just saying, all right, getting a ton of traffic, but nobody's buying. Why is it? Google Analytics lets you become like a detective and try to just figure out what exactly is causing this issue. Well, it doesn't tell you what's causing the issue, but it gives you insight like something's wrong with this page. It's not going to tell you what's wrong with that page. And that's where you got to do A/B testing and play around with it. But at least you have some more insights. And these tools are free. They do have a little bit of a learning curve. And I've done classes over the years that show you how to use Google Analytics and Search Console in these tools. So they could just search my name, Brandon Leibowitz, on YouTube and see some of those classes. But it does get a little overwhelming at times. It might be best to have someone at least help out at the beginning. Once you know where to go, then it's a little bit easier. But at the beginning, it is overwhelming.
Hey, Rockstar. I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Work at Home Rockstar podcast. If you didn't know already, my business is Creative Crew Agency. We build websites. Now, let's talk about your website for a minute. Most people realize that at this day and age, we need a website, but we don't really know what the website is supposed to do. And sometimes you'll just go and build a website for the sake of building a website. What I do is I make sure that your website actually accomplishes a goal. Now, there are three main goals to most websites. Number one is to provide information and build credibility. Number two is to schedule some sort of appointment and get them onto a sales call. Number three is to sell something like an e-commerce site. Now, when you're setting your website, you have to be very mindful that the visitor doesn't know what to do. And so you have to provide them with a roadmap that leads them down a path to wherever you want them to go. On my website, I want them to be on a free consultation. So that's why when you go to creativecrewagency.com, you'll see information about scheduling a free consultation. Now, for you, though, I'm going to provide you with an extra link so that you can get your free website audit. Go to creativecrewagency.com/free website audit and schedule an audit with me. And I'll go through your website live and determine what we can do to improve your conversions and make sure that you're getting the business from your website. Go to creativecrewagency.com and we'll see you there.
Yeah, I'm, I've got a technical background and I find it pretty overwhelming, for all this stuff. It's definitely not built for the average, person. It's built for someone who, actually knows what they're doing, I think, really. But like you say, there's ways you can learn these things, right? And that kind of leads to the next topic, which is learning from the best. So, what is your approach? Like, how do you stay up on, all the currents? And like, do you take courses? Do you, hire coaches, all that stuff? What's your approach?
That is how I first learned the SEO, digital marketing. It was that first job I got out of school, helping a company out with their SEO. They didn't really know much about SEO. And I told them I didn't know much either. They said, don't worry, we're going to learn with you and take you to classes and workshops and seminars. And that's really what got me started, was by going to one of these seminars and learning about SEO, digital marketing. And that is a great way to keep learning. You don't have to go to paid seminars like nowadays with YouTube. There's so much content out there, or podcasts, and just in general, blogs. There's a ton of valuable information. Good place to go nowadays would be Facebook groups. Seem to be pretty active.
Okay.
In the past, I'd go to like forums, but they've kind of died out or fizzled out. They're still active, but Facebook groups just seem to be updated in real time, and a lot of active members in these groups. So you can find a group for SEO or social media or whatever it is that you're looking for. And nowadays there's groups on almost everything. You just find a big group that's not just full of spam, but it's actually providing value. And then that's where I usually get the most insights from, but try to learn from as many places as possible. Articles, blogs, podcasts, classes, having mentors, and the more, the better.
Yeah, because from what I understand, things kind of change frequently in that space, don't they? Or is it pretty much the same thing you did 5 years ago?
No, Google changes it every single day. I mean, they make little changes, but every few months they have big changes. But yeah, it's constantly changing all the time, which makes it interesting, but also makes it tricky at times too, because they don't tell you what they're changing. Sometimes they do, but most of the times they don't want you to know, because they want you to get frustrated, give up, and run those paid ads, because that's how they make all their money, is through paid ads.
Okay, I understand. So So basically that's when you do the AdWords and all that stuff, right? You pay for the advertising instead of going to your website and having to change to make it show up higher. Is that how it works?
Well, hopefully you don't have any issues with the algorithm updates, because if you do the wrong things, Google's actually going to drop you, which we don't want to happen. But if someone did do something that caused them to drop in the past, then ads might be a way to supplement that traffic until we can get them back up. But hopefully they don't have any issues. We don't want them dropping down, but ads aren't bad as long as you're making a positive return on your ad spend. Then something wrong with really running ads, but just got to make sure that you're making more than you're putting in.
Okay. So like when you work with a client, your strategy is more like the organic, or is it ads?
It's more holistic because I realized just doing SEO doesn't really do much. I mean, it does a lot, but unfortunately, just no matter what, half your traffic is going to hit that back button just in general, no matter what, from email, from social media, from SEO. It's called the bounce rate. If you look in Google Analytics, you'll see that probably going to have like a 40 to 60% bounce rate, meaning that's how many people came to your website, just left. So how do you keep yourself top of mind? You could do those remarketing ads where you follow people around that have been to your website but didn't do a specific conversion action. Like if you go on Amazon, you look at a product, you don't buy it, you'll see those ads that follow you around.
Yeah.
Doing the same thing. So if someone comes to my website, I don't sell products, but I have a service. And someone goes to my website and will offer free classes. So if they come to my website and don't go to my free class, then I'm going to follow them around offering my free class. After they've gone to my free class, they haven't signed up for a free consultation. I'm going to follow them around saying, book a free 15-minute call or 30-minute call with me to discuss your website. And then after they've done that, they haven't signed up, I'll follow them around with testimonials. So you're not just following them around with the same ads, because that's not really going to work. You have to kind of be a little bit more strategic about it, especially for a service. For e-commerce, it's like they looked at this product, they didn't buy it, follow them around with that product. It's a little bit more basic, but with services, you got to get kind of creative and figure out how do you want them into that funnel, and understand that there's different audience segments. Even for like e-commerce, people that went to your website, added a product to the shopping cart and didn't check out, those are called cart abandoners. Those are closest to making a purchase. That's where you really want to push a big budget, because they were about to make a purchase and something discouraged them, maybe the price or shipping, or maybe they're on the phone and somebody called them. They got distracted. They forgot about what website they were on. So keeping yourself top of mind and having those multiple touch points really helps out. And that's what I've learned over the years is SEO isn't really a means to an end. It's just one way to get traffic. Same with the ads. It's all just a way to get traffic, but you have to have multiple touch points and really build trust up with the human to want them to make a purchase, especially when it's a big ticket item. Like if you're just selling like a t-shirt, all right, you could kind of get away with it. But if you're selling like a car or anything that's kind of more expensive, that's where you got to really build that trust up. And it takes time. They're not just going to go to your website to make a purchase of a brand new car. You have to really build that trust up. And that takes time.
Wow. So, I mean, all this stuff sounds awesome. And I'm wondering, like, is this really accessible to a small business? Like how much is this going to cost to get all this stuff all set up and running? Like, is there a ballpark for that?
It varies depending on really the keywords that you're targeting. So if you're a restaurant in Los Angeles, there's a lot of restaurants. There's only 10 spots on that first page of Google.
Yep.
You're fighting a lot of restaurants to get up there. So that's where it becomes the more competition, the more time it takes for me to get you up there. Versus if you're in some tiny town where there's only like 8 restaurants and you're number 9, then it's not going to be that hard to get you up there. You still want to maintain it and get you to the very top, but at least you'll always be on that first page of Google. So less competition means it's a lot easier for me to get you up there. And that means less time, less money, but it's not really one size fits all. Every website's different. And that's why I always offer that free consultation. That way I could really look at their website, look at their competitors, and try to figure out what's going to be the best strategy. Maybe SEO might be a little too expensive, or maybe it's not going to work because people aren't searching for your keywords. Let's cut that out and let's try the Google ads or social media or whatever it may be. So it's really just try to figure out what fits best for their audience and how to really get their audience to become aware of what their product or service is.
Yeah. Yeah. And that makes sense. I mean, especially nowadays when anybody can run a business from home, right? Like the competition is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger as time goes on, right? In just about every industry. especially if you're offering a digital service. If you're offering digital service, well, then now it's not even location specific, right? You're competing with everybody in the world, right?
Yep. And that makes it even more competitive. So that's where you just got to figure out who exactly is your audience and how to get a hold of them. And maybe if you're doing a digital product, like, all right, it's in English. Let me first focus on the United States. Then you can expand to Canada. Then maybe do Europe. And then if you want to start translating into other languages, you can do that. But I would say initially just focus on one. Don't just spread yourself too thin and try to be everywhere, because you can do that, but that's where it becomes very, very expensive. And that's probably later down the stage of your business.
So, like, let's just get some ballparks then. I mean, if let's just say you're in a small town, not a whole lot of competition, what would be sort of like a ballpark figure? We talking like hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to get something going?
No, probably thousands or
Thousands,
a
yeah.
thousand if it's like a really, really tiny one. So it shouldn't be that much. But if it's very competitive, then it might be a little bit more. But if it's some small, obscure town, it shouldn't be too much. And the nice thing is once you get up there, you're probably not going to drop down right away. Whereas like if you're in Los Angeles, those restaurants are going to be looking at your backlinks using those tools that we talked about earlier. And they're going to be trying to fight for that top spot because they don't want to be on page 2. They want to be on page 1. So that's where you just got to be aware that they're going to be constantly on top of everything you're doing. And that means you have to be constantly on top of everything that they are doing. That way you could just make sure that you don't slip down and fall.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, if you're in a big city, you also got to think about the budgets of them because you're literally like competing against other people's budgets, right? I would assume, right? I mean, because it takes time, it takes money to get
Mm-hmm.
these things done. So, if you've got 10 massive companies that are your competition, they probably have bigger budgets than you do, right? And I mean, it could be tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars, wouldn't it be to try to compete with them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You might have corporate chains that are there and they have big budgets, or franchise or Yelp would rank up there usually for restaurants. And even though they're not technically a restaurant, if they rank for your keywords, they technically are a competitor online. Offline is different, but online it's whoever's ranking for your keywords. That is your competition. And that's where you just got to figure out how can I do a better job of what they're doing. And that's really by building better backlinks. It really comes down to backlinks for SEO for the most part. There's a lot of other stuff, but backlinks are just such a big piece of it. And looking at your competitors' backlinks and just trying to build more quality backlinks.
Yeah, we'll get on podcasts, right? Because you get a
Yep.
backlink for that kind of stuff, right?
Yep. Any way to get a backlink from a site that's related to what you're doing is always going to be beneficial. So if you're able to be a guest on someone's podcast and they post a podcast on their website, then you're going to get a backlink from their website. So just posting on YouTube, Spotify, all those other like podcast sites, that doesn't really help out too much, but you need to be on websites that relate to what you're doing. Because if you're just on Spotify and YouTube and like Google podcast platforms, they're just going to think that you're a podcast. But you need to be on sites that relate to what you're doing. So like I do SEO. I'm not going to get other SEO websites to link or competitors to link out to me, but I could find websites about marketing, about traditional marketing. It doesn't have to be digital marketing, but anything somewhat related. That's what Google wants to see.
Nice. All right, Brandon. So it's time for your guest solo. Tell me what's exciting in your business right now.
Right now, just trying to keep it growing, seeing what's going on with the AI, since that's such a big part of everything nowadays, and just trying to figure out how to use it in a way that offers value and offers correct information instead of just using it just to rely on it because it's like a tool. It just depends on how you use that tool, but just trying to figure out how to use that tool to help with my clients and maximize their visibility and exposure, and just trying to see what's going to happen with the future of SEO because Google's now talking about putting AI in the search results. So I have to see how that comes into play and just trying to adapt and adjust because there really is no constant with digital marketing. It's always changing and there's some big changes happening right now. We'll have to see if they last because there's always fads that come and go. And this AI one doesn't seem like it's a fad that's going to disappear anytime soon. I feel like it's here for the long run, but that is really what I just try to figure out, and offering some more courses and just offering more client work and just trying to keep growing the business and helping people get more traffic to their websites.
So tell me what would be like the ideal client that would get the most out of working with you?
Someone that has a product or service where they're not just selling like t-shirts or something really generic, but something a little bit more unique. So if you're selling t-shirts, that's fine, but you have to find something that differentiates yourself. Like maybe you're selling organic cotton t-shirts for toddlers or something like that versus just selling t-shirts. Then you're just competing against all of these big corporations. And if you have a big budget, then we could do it. But if you're just a startup or a mom and pop shop, it's going to be really, really tough. So that's where it's just understanding who you are in the buying cycle or in the business life cycle and trying to just make sure that it's actually feasible and making sure that usually I work with like local businesses or e-commerce websites. So if you're selling a product or on your website, I can help you out. Or if you're a local business, those are the two that I really focus on primarily. But as long as you have a website, a viable product or service, there is potential. And I can always check it out and see, can we get you up there? How long is it going to take? And is it going to get you a positive return on investment?
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, what you mentioned before about the city with a bunch of restaurants. Like you can also, if you've got a digital product, try to figure out how to make that unique as opposed to all of your other clients so that people looking for you, they're looking for something specific, right? You're kind of like niching down. So
Mm-hmm.
do you help them to figure that out too? To figure out how to make their product sound unique?
Sometimes I've done that in the past and also it kind of backfires, but then a lot of owners are like, no, this is my product. This is my baby.
Okay.
Don't tell me to do that. But I'm just trying to help them out. And I've realized that maybe I shouldn't do that. Someone actually, I was doing a free consultation with somebody. I said, all right, you're selling this really, really generic product. This might not work on SEO unless we could do something to differentiate it. And then she got really mad and she's like, I'm going to write you a negative review on Yelp and Google and all these places. And I was trying to help her out. So now I realized maybe I shouldn't say stuff like that, even though I want to help you out. But people just take it the wrong way sometimes. And they're like, this is my baby. This is my product I've been working on. But telling them like with SEO, it might not work. There's other alternatives that we could do, like the paid ads, social media. But sometimes people don't want to hear that.
No, it's funny that you say that because because we work in similar fields, right? I build websites for the most part. I don't do a whole lot of like SEO work. I focus on more, organic marketing with like social media and stuff. But I do have like it's quite often that you have a client that'll come to me and they'll say, "Oh yeah, I had this SEO person and they were doing," and the way it sounds is that the SEO person didn't tell them that there was no way they were going to get on the first page of Google because they did have a very generic, product that everybody else is offering. And a lot of people come to me because they're coaches, right? That's super generic. Like, how do you get number one as a coach? Right? I mean, there's got to be something, but now I can get it because it's possible that maybe they just got upset when you said, "Well, I'm not going to get you a number one on Google. It's just not going to happen." Like we need to figure out how to niche down your coaching services, right, in order to get you on the first page. But like you said, people can get upset about that sometimes, right? Because it's what they offer. They just want you to figure it out, right?
You have to walk that thin line, and sometimes you have to turn clients away saying, all right, I'm not going to tell you that this isn't going to work, but I'm just going to tell you that it's probably not going to be feasible to get you up there on Google. There's other alternatives, but I don't want to push them the wrong way and think that I'm saying their product or service is not a good one, which it is. It's just you have to understand the competition. With SEO, it's whoever ranks on that first page of Google is your competitor. If you're just selling something really generic and you have all these big brand corporations there, it's going to be really, really tough to rank you up there. I mean, eventually maybe you could get up there, but if it's all like Amazon and Target and Walmart and Nordstrom's and Macy's, so I have clients like that. I'm like, we need to figure out something more unique. Otherwise, this is just, I think they have whole teams of people doing their SEO. They're probably pushing tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month into their SEO. And if you're not going to be able to do that, then we got to figure out something that's going to get you up there, but not be competing with these big, big corporate websites.
Yeah. So how do we find out more about you then?
So anyone that wants to learn more, I create a special gift for them. If they go to my website at SEOoptimizers.com, that's SEOoptimizers.com/gift. And they can find that there along with my contact information and classes I've done over the years. I've done it for free. So they can see step by step how to do a lot of stuff that we talked about. And also if they want a free website analysis, I'm happy to check out their website from an SEO point of view, and they can book some time on my calendar there as well.
Nice. Right on. Well, thank you so much for rocking out with me today, Brandon. This has been a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. To the listeners, make sure you subscribe, rate, and comment, and we'll see you next time on the Work at Home Rockstar podcast.